Howdy everyone! We're here tonight, I guess since it's like 11 p.m, for another EF-12 tutorial. This is the second tutorial in the EF-12 Basics series, and in this tutorial we're going to be covering converting a stage. Now, converting a stage is pretty much exactly the same as converting a character, only you don't have to rig it, which is great because I don't like rigging things. So, because we don't have to rig, I'm gonna just be using Blender 2.66a, just because I don't have any reason to use Blender 2.79, because I just like rigging in 2.79 better. But since we don't have to rig, we don't have to do that. First, you're gonna want to get your model file. Again, you can model it yourself, you can find it from a resource. I will not explain how to model things, there are tutorials for that. Find your model, import it if it's a day, or open it if it's a blend file. I'm not sure if blend files from newer versions will open in older versions, but you can try. So go ahead and import Collada Day. Go and navigate to where you put your file. I put it in stage 95, and open up stage 95. Now, as you'll see, it's a mess. It's ugly. This is horrible. What is this? This is because there is no texture on it, and it uses a lot of grass, so it doesn't look very good with no texture. This was originally an MMD stage. I will link the original, but it's kind of ugly. And if we go to texture, it's just a white void. So we need to fix this. Go to edit mode and go to the sphere tab or the material tab. The first thing you're going to want to do is check if it has materials. If you're using a pre-existing model, it'll hopefully already have materials attached to it, but if it doesn't, or you made it yourself and you didn't attach materials, you're kind of gonna be in a sticky situation. Materials make it easy because you need to separate the floor from the decoration. So the decoration is not collidable, it's just there as set dressing. The floor is actually what the characters stand on. So I did clean up this model a tiny bit, so I know that the floor is the material slot 4. So if I go to edit mode, I'm just going to do Control Tab, select face, go and hit select, and it'll select the entire floor because the floor is one material. Now I want the floor to be separate, so I'm going to hit P and separate by selection. So now the floor is Stage Mesh 001. I'm just going to rename this to floor and rename this to stage. So now they're separate. Now we can go and add textures so it's not incomprehensible. And I'm just going to remove material. No, I can't remove it in edit mode. Of course I can't. Material slot 4 from that. And I'm going to remove all the others but 4 from this one just to make things clean. So adding materials is quite literally exactly the same as in the character model tutorial, in which case you collapse everything but the shading tab. Enter emit anywhere from 0 to 1. 1 is the brightest, 0 is pitch black. I do 0.75. Go down to EF-12 material properties and set everything as you'd like. Now for this stage, since it uses grass, I'm going to have to consider the alpha textures. Alpha textures are textures that utilize transparency, but they can sometimes be glitchy if they overlay a lot. This is probably going to be glitchy. I don't care if it looks good, I just care if it converts into the game. So the alpha test is what controls the alpha, so I'm just going to set it to 0.50. It's not going to show up obviously, but, and as you can see, the decal texture is stage5.bmp. The file extension does not matter here, but it will matter later when you import it into foolviewer and EF-12, as it needs to be either a TGA or DDS. I use DDS because that is what is recommended, and I think the file size is smaller, I'm not sure. But since this stage is a basic like old game conversion, it doesn't have any normals or dents or glosses. I'm not going to bother with any of those. I'm just going to set it to standard, set the decal, which is what it looks like to stay the texture it is. And then I'm going to quickly go in UV image editor and just apply the texture to each of the corresponding materials, just so it shows up in edit mode so I know that it exists. And thankfully these were all labeled, I believe. Yeah, they are all labeled. So the person who converted this stage from the game was very kind to me, or anyone who wanted to convert things. Oh, that's 5, not 3. So I'm just going to quickly go through and hit select. This is 6. Hit select, and when I'm done with a certain material, I just hit A to deselect everything. Stage 7, stage 8, stage 9. Oh, that is not the right texture for that. What is going on? There's the right texture. Why is it? Okay, it's all confused. I don't want to speed this up because I feel like it would be superficial to do that, so you're just gonna have to deal with me. That is the right texture, I think. I'm not sure. So this is all of, actually no, that's not the right texture, is it? Who knows? These were not labeled correctly at all. Okay, that's the right texture. So now it looks kind of less like an incomprehensible mess. It still looks like an incomprehensible mess. But now that that's done, we can go back to the outliner, select the floor, and do the same. I don't know why I like to do this. I just think that EF-12 considers what's in the current texture slot, or else it gets mad. EF-12 loves to get mad. I had to change my compatibility settings to have it actually open it on my computer because, fun fact, if you edit your character selection screen, it doesn't like that. So it looks okay. It doesn't look good, but it's okay, which is good enough for me. Now we're going to want to go to the stage and set the alpha test value of everything that has an alpha, like this grass, for example, to, I think it was 0.5 that had a good alpha for me, but I think it's a scale on 1 to, it is on 1 to 0, where it'll be more alpha-y or less alpha-y. As you can see, it's like 1130. So I think that's everything. If this looks abysmal in game, it's my fault. Just gonna set this to not 0.75. Okay, I think that's everything, and I think I set the wrong texture for the trees. So I'm going to change that. There we go, those look more like trees. Now that that's done, you're going to want to save in case it crashes, because EF-12 loves to crash with its plugins and everything. So I'm just going to save this as stage 95.blend. Okay, now if you want to test how big your stage is going to look in game, MMD stages are usually pretty good about being a good size, but otherwise you may not know. So if you want to know, just go and hit append or import collada default. If you have it saved as a collada, there it is, import, And there she is. And she is the correct size because I exported her. Oh god, the camera's all whack now. Because I exported her for EF-12. So as you can see, she is very small compared to the stage, so the stage should be a good size. And if it isn't, you can always go back and resize it. Can I please get rid of Aster now? Please get rid of her. Get rid of her ghost. Delete. Get out of here. Now that that's done, you I undid that. That's not nice. This program is not liking me tonight. All this rambling is to make up for the fact that this is a short tutorial. Because if there's one thing I can't do, it's I can't shut up. So now that that's done, you're going to want to save, delete either the floor or the stage, export, EF-12 model, and save this as stage 95 floor dot day. Undo deleting the accessories or the rest of the stage, delete the floor this time, and then export the rest of the stage as an EF-12 model. I don't know why I'm using all caps here, but who cares? So, and then just undo that for good measure. Now that that's done, go to wherever you saved it, and as you can see, I already converted all the textures to DDS files just to save time. And you're going to want to go to foolviewer, if it'll, Windows, you're so wonderful. Go to data, model, create a new folder, name it state, or I'm just going to name it grassy backlot, because that's kind of what this stage is. What? Select your DDS files and drag them in there, or copy them. You should probably copy them in case anything explodes, because things love to explode when you don't want them to. And then drag your stage 95 floor or stage 95 stage or whatever you named it. It doesn't have to be this stage. I'll provide a download for this anyways if you want it. If it doesn't, if the alpha textures don't turn out horrible, then double click conv model and it'll go ahead and convert it. And since it was such a small file, it did it pretty fast. It's only like 3,005 or like 6,000 verts, 3,500 tries, so it's pretty small. And you'll see the stage 95 floor F model and the stage 95 stage F model, or whatever you named it. Go ahead, click and drag these into your folder you just made, which is grassy backlot. Go to foolviewer. It'll take its sweet time. And the way you preview stages in foolviewer is kind of weird. So you have to select for the second option, this one, go here, select the floor. So there's a floor. And here, select the stage. And so the alpha texture didn't really export probably because of how the files were formatted, but it converted fine. So now that you've done that, I'll fix this up in post, because it's probably because of how the textures are formatted, they're not actually transparent, so I'll fix that later. But it seems to work fine. And if you want to check how big a model is with it, just go set this to stage 96 or 95 stage or whatever, and then go ahead and just put a model there. So there's Aster, she's there. And you can see that she's an okay size compared to the actual stage, even though her fingers are messed up because she's using the wrong skeleton. So, since that's good, we're going to go to our EF-12 folder, data, STG, and we're going to copy the training room folder, just because I think it's a safe bet. and paste it. And we're going to rename it to whatever you want. I'm just going to use my prefix, which is PKAU, and I'm going to name it grassy backlot. I don't believe these can include spaces or special characters, just like file names for textures, so be careful of that. Go to MDL, and you'll see all this nonsense. You can just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Delete it all. Since there's no folders here, it won't get angry if you delete a folder, which is good, because I had to learn that the hard way last time. Go to, not motion, go to model, grassy backlot, and copy and paste the entire folder into the MDL folder. Next, you're going to want to go to the stage app.ini file, and this is where all your stage configuration happens. So I'm just going to change the name to grassy backlot, the display name to grassy backlot, the author is me, Zin, and we're going to change the stage.mdl. So I guess I did mess up with the things. The floor is actually called the stage.mdl, and what I called the stage is actually called the background. But since we named them weirdly, we're going to, what did I name them? I don't have a memory. Stage 95 floor. And the shadow cast model, you don't have to care about that unless your model is seriously high poly. You can just copy and paste the same thing. And the BGMDL is stage 95 stage. You can change the stage type, either circle or square. You can change the size, which is how big the ring circle is, and you can change the environment, which I won't really mess with because it's kind of weird, but it's here. I can show you for a second. It's a lot of text editing. But go to sky, it's not sky, env. Yeah, it's a lot of this. And unless you know your RGBS or RGBA or RGB whatever values, it can be annoying, but I'll probably do a tutorial on it in the future once I figure it out. So now that that's done, we can go in EF-12 and check it out, which I will do later because
get ready.
Round 1, fight.アウトオブリング、リスタート、ファイト。ノックアウト。